Hello, hello, and welcome to this Friday live stream. My name is Cuddy J. Mitchell, and I'm the host of this channel, Journey into the Soul, where I provide regular heart centered meditations, intuitive messages, and yoga nidra. So it's an honor to be on here this morning with anyone who shows up or for any of you that listen to the replay. These experiences are always really good and fun for me in their own way because I get to really tap into that intuitive sense, listen to my guides, and bring through whatever is most relevant to anyone who comes across this, including myself. These are always helpful. And we get to do a little meditation together. And I feel as though, and I really believe that when we do these meditations live, no matter how many people are here, it helps to really infuse the meditation with a greater energy. And then whenever people come across the video and they watch it, they're like helping infuse it with more love, with more energy. And it just kind of helps more and more in a different way. And like it empowers the meditation, if you will. It makes the energy of the meditation more powerful. So I really appreciate you being here. Whether you're here live or you watch the replay, whether you're here for a few minutes or you're here for the whole thing, my heart is grateful for you. I'm going to do today's message a little different than I've done them in the last few live streams. And I'm going to just share the message that came through, and then we'll move into the meditation, and then we'll see if there's anything to close up, and we'll be complete for the day. I pulled two cards, and we're just going to share two cards today. And I've sat with this and kind of listened and attuned as to what was the best way to share this message. And I'm just going to share what the cards are and what deck they're from, and then my interpretation of what's been coming through for this today, as well as over the last few days. So I pulled two cards for the collective, asking what the collective message we needed to hear, what was going to be of the greatest benefit for all those that come across this video and this message at this time, or wherever they are in space and time. And they're both from My Guides of the Hidden Realms by Colette Baron-Reid. And the first card is about letting go of stories. So surrendering attachments, releasing unconscious patterns, letting go of stories. And the second card, and I'm just going to share what they are, and then I'll share my interpretation, is the sovereignty of magic. This is synchronicities, miracles, spiritual forces, right? So this felt relevant at all times, but it felt especially relevant today, depending on who you are, what thought systems you prescribe to. Yesterday was like the Lionsgate portal 888, and really depending on who you are, you might understand that portal is still very active. It extends through. It's there. It's not just like finished at midnight of yesterday. It kind of like is a broader energetic field portal of that. But especially for this message to come through today, right after that. And, just kind of a little disclaimer, it doesn't matter where you're watching this video. It could be, December time of later this year. And this message will still be very, very relevant because it kind of will signify a portal that has been occurring in your own life at that time. So no matter where you're seeing this video in space and time, it's still relevant because your soul has called you to it. But so especially since we're getting this today, and potentially yesterday or the last few days, maybe you've done different manifestation techniques or meditations or visualizations, or really placing intentions on what it is that you want for your life. And the message here is that you have to, now that you have spoken that, written it, visualized it, felt it, you have to actually let the story of it go. You have to let go of the idea of what it's supposed to look like and how you want it to happen. You have to just let it all go, all the stories that you're telling yourself, so that the real magic, the divine forces can come in and really do the work and make it happen in the best possible way. Right. So we have to move out of the way. Now that we've spoken our truth, now that we've said what we want, we have to move out of the way and let divine forces work and do their magic. And we have to believe in the magic, right? Because the other thing that happens is sometimes we put in our I like how Louise Hay talks about our request to the cosmic kitchen. If you're familiar with Louise Hay and her work, you may have heard her talk about putting that request into the cosmic kitchen. And, it's like when the way she would describe it is you go to a restaurant and you order food and you kind of say, "Okay, I'm gonna have this. This is what I want." And you just, the waiter leaves and they go into the kitchen, send in your order and it gets sent to the kitchen and the kitchen prepares it. Well, while you're waiting there for your meal, you're not, like, running to the back of the kitchen or, like, going to the hostess or calling on your waiter and being like, "Hey, so are they preparing it the way that I asked?" Or, like, are you is it really coming?" Like, I mean, sure, if there's a long wait, you might ask 1 or 2 questions, but a lot of the time, you're just sitting there waiting for your food to come out, having a conversation with your friend or your family member or whoever you're there with, or if you're by yourself, just enjoying being by yourself, right? You're not like, constantly trying to figure out where that order is. You're just kind of waiting. You're kinda allowing. You're enjoying where you are. A lot of the time, maybe you really just are enjoying being out, not having to cook, being where you are, right? And then when the order comes out, they put it down in front of you, and if it's what you want, you're excited, you're happy, you're happy to be eating or whatever you're feeling, and you've received what you asked for. And if it's not what you want, what do you some people some people may not say anything. I would encourage you to speak your truth, voice your opinion, share what you need to because we're not gonna go into that there, but that's saying something more about, different places, maybe even our throat chakra that we need to clear out. But anyway, a lot of the time, what you're gonna say is if it comes out and it's not what you ordered, you go, "Wait a minute, that's not quite what I ordered," right? So the same is true about our manifestations. Right? We speak them, we visualize them, we ask for them, we send them out, and then we just let it go. And we sit back and we trust and we have faith that it's all working out. And then we allow the universe to bring us our order. And if it's not exactly what we want, this is the one thing I love about the way Louise Hay describes it, is that we can always say, well, that's not quite what I was asking for. And so I'm going to let go a little bit longer. I'm sending it back and I'm just going to wait a second longer. Right. And a lot of the time, that's a test. I feel those are tests from the universe to say, are you really going to have the courage to wait for what you asked for? And I'll just share one little example of that. Is a year ago, my kids and I were looking for a place to live. I was separating from my husband at the time, and we were looking for a home. And I I said, okay, universe, if I can have anything that I want, if we can have whatever we want, then this is what I need. I needed this type of a house within this area, within this price range, with these particular things. And then I added in all the bonuses of the things that I wanted. And I let it go and I meditated and I visualized and I did my best to let it go. Letting go was definitely the hardest part at the time. I remember that for sure. It is the hardest part of manifestation. But then I just let it be, and at one point, we found a house that was within the price range that almost had the things we wanted, but when we went and looked at it, there were too many things that were actually, like, deal breakers. It would've worked perfectly, we could've signed the lease, we could've moved in, but there was something in me that said, this is kinda what I ordered, but it's really not." And so I had to let it go again, and I had to send it back, and me and my son actually sat there on the application for the house. Instead of filling it out, we turned it over and we wrote all the pros and cons of what that had, and then what it was that was still kinda missing from that desire that we really wanted. And we waited a few more weeks, and, as miracles occur, the perfect house came into our field and we were able to move in pretty quickly and it all worked out really beautifully, right? But it was one of those experiences where I had to recognize that my like order to the cosmic kitchen, as Louise Hay says, was not actually what I had ordered, and I had to let go a little bit longer. And the universe said, are you willing to wait? Are you willing to wait a little bit longer? Are you willing to be very clear on what it is that you asked for and stand your ground in what you asked for? Right. And so the same is true right now. The message that's coming through right now is that we have to let go of those stories, right? Like, even though I had this, I could have said, okay, well, my story is that I want this. And, or I could have, actually, I'm being steered in a different direction. When that first house came, I could have said, "Oh, I'm not gonna find anything else in the area that's this price range. This is exactly what if this is the only one? What if this is the only thing that's gonna come my way? Oh, I mean, we live in a limited universe." Like, I mean, I could have told all the same stories that I had heard. And instead I said, "No, I trust that I can truly have what I desire. I trust that the universe is guiding me right now and divine forces are at play. And I have to let go of the stories that I have been telling myself about what is possible and believe in magic. And so I'm going to step back and surrender the will to the divine will and let the miracle come." Right? And so that's one piece of this message. Of let it go. If you've put your order in, let it go. Sit back, release to divine forces. The other the other piece, and this came in, like, as I was falling asleep last night, and I woke up this morning, I was falling asleep, and this message came in, and I was like, "Oh, that I need to share that tomorrow." And then I woke up this morning, and I was like, "Okay, I don't remember the message. Maybe I wasn't supposed to share it." But whenever I pulled these cards before, I was like, "Oh, that is that message that I heard last night." And it's and this is gonna be for some of you out there, right? And this really is kind of we're shifting the message that I was just sharing to one a little bit different. And we all have so many different people in our lives, right? We have friends and family members and teachers and coworkers and mentors and guides and the list goes on. Strangers, there's people that work at the grocery store that you just see and but because you're a regular there. Like, I mean, there's so many different people that we know. And every time we interact with someone, we create a little story in our mind about that person, whether consciously or unconsciously, or we look at somebody and we make judgments. And these aren't I'm not saying that they have to be negative. I think any assumption we make about another person could be considered a judgment depending on how you're looking at it. And so but we make assumptions. I'll use that word here instead. We make assumptions about people based upon our brief interactions with them. And these assumptions actually influence the way we interact with people, the way that we guard ourselves, the walls we put up. They influence a lot about the way we walk through the world. And the message that I was receiving last night is one of the things that we do is, and I'm saying we is this like very broad collective we, right? Like, I'm not saying I always do this or you always do this or they always do it. It's just something that occurs within society, within our societies, and it's pretty common. If it wasn't, we probably wouldn't have a lot of the issues that we see. But one of the things that happens is we make snap judgments about somebody, snap assumptions, and sometimes those are actually very negative about the person. Like, oh, like, it's like very like that hit the microphone, like very, very profound. Like they can be very negative. Like you see somebody, this is an example. You could see somebody begging for food. And maybe some people's initial reaction is to go buy them food and get them food and, take them food or give them a little bit of money. Other people will say, "Oh, why are they home? Like they should just go," and you can, I mean, fill in the blank. I mean, I don't need to create those thoughts there or go down that line, but I mean, there are snap judgments that could be made in that particular scenario. That's one example. Or another example, you go to the grocery store and you pass through the line and the person that's working at the cashier lane is kind of rude and short with you. And you're asking, "Oh, how's your day?" And they don't really say anything. And, however that interaction could go. And you leave and you're like, "Oh, they were just in a bad mood. And I don't know what their problem." I mean, just, yeah, again, fill in the blank. I don't really like to go down those lines too much because I don't want to put those thoughts into the mind or really spend too much their time there myself. But ultimately, these snap judgments are made about people. And there is this really deep call of we have to let all of that go. We have to become more and more and more and more aware of when we are doing that from the smallest to the biggest ways, right? From the snap judgments we make about the strangers that we meet to the snap assumptions and judgments we make about our family members and friends and coworkers. Like we have to stop placing the stories that are in our mind about other people on them as if they're truth. We actually have to stop doing that. We really like globally, like we all need to find ways within ourselves to stop doing that because I'm like, there's like so many reasons for this, right? And I'm just deciphering which one to go with first. First of all, first, it doesn't make you really feel any better. A lot of the time, it starts it just kind of takes you on a continuous thought loop, and more than likely, you don't feel better after thinking all that stuff. You know, it didn't help you. It didn't. And some people I know actually do feel better when they think negative things about other people because it makes them feel better about their own life. And yet, ultimately, it's not making them feel better because they'll find it's like almost it's a little bit different where their assumptions they do that to feel better, but then they're looking at people who they think have more than them and feeling guilty and shameful and whatnot when they look at them. And it's the same idea, but in a different way, right? So we have to stop doing that as well. Looking at people, thinking that they have it all figured out, or the life that you want, or everything that you need, and feeling bad about ourselves in the process. Like either way you take that, it's not good for your own personal field. It's not good for your mind, your body, your cells. Like it's not good for you. And if it's not good for you, it's not good for the world because ultimately we are all living here on this planet together, collectively. And we live in a collective field, what I like to call the collective heart. And anything that one of us is pulsing out is interacting with that collective heart, right? And it's vibrating into that collective heart. And so if we're making snap assumptions and judgments that are causing pain in our own heart, we're rippling that out. And if we're making assumptions and judgments that are making us feel pain about our life because we're comparing, we're rippling that pain out. And ultimately, that is influencing the collective heart. And and we have to let go of all of that. We have to let go of those stories so divine will and divine magic and divine intervention can come in and help heal and uplift and shift and do what needs to be done, which is already occurring. We just have to get out of the way. There was a thought that came, but I maybe wasn't important. It's past, so just want to, yeah, yeah. So I mean, so the question is today, how can I let go of the stories I'm telling myself about others and myself, so I can let divine forces, divine will come in, so I can truly help uplift and heal the collective heart by healing my own heart, right? So that was a lot. That was a very, yeah, that was a lot. But that was really what has been kind of coming through. And then yesterday was such uh, a powerful and magnetic day. And I was having this conversation with my son, and this kind of idea popped into my head of like, okay, we hear about the Lionsgate portal, but not everybody believes in that. Now, but not everybody um, believes in certain things, right? And I heard, but it doesn't matter. Like yesterday, even when I said this, my son, I'll have to tell you what he said, but I was like, it wouldn't even matter if it wasn't real. Like if there was no Lionsgate portal, and it wouldn't even matter if that wasn't real because so many people believe that it's real. And so because so many people believe that it's real, it automatically amplifies that energetic field of the planet. It's those heart pulses we're sending into the collective heart. And so it actually makes it very real. So it doesn't even matter if the science wasn't there, or if the truth, like if it doesn't even matter because so many people are practicing it, are believing in it, find it to be truth, and pulsing that out into the collective heart that it actually raises the vibration and makes it real. So it is real, right? Because of so many people's belief systems, it is real. And I said the first part, and my son goes, "Yeah, but it's all about what you believe anyway." So, like, he's the one that brought that part of it in of, like, it would be real anyway because they believe it's real. And I don't know why my voice is going out, but probably because I need to complete this message, actually. And I've said enough, and it's time to meditate. So, yep, that's exactly what it is. All right, so I hope that you have found some value in some of that that came through. And it feels like a perfect time to move into our meditation. And we're just going to do a little short meditation, and then we'll close this reading today. It'll be a little shorter than some of the last ones that I've done. And if anything resonated with you with that message, feel free to leave it in the comments. Share your own reflections on what you feel to be truth for you, on how you feel about those things, and bring those in for whoever else comes across. I mean, it's all helpful and valuable. And now would be that perfect time to go ahead and find your comfortable spot, space. And gently close your eyes, bringing your awareness inside. Gently begin deepening your breath, inviting each breath to be a little softer and a little slower. And as your breath deepens, begin allowing yourself to feel into your body, becoming present within your body. And as you breathe, just see if you can help your body relax. Noticing any areas where there may be tension or gripping, and letting the breath just flow through these spaces, helping to relax the muscles, helping to release any tension. Letting the mind slow down, letting the body feel more at ease, more calm and relaxed. And if thoughts come in and try to distract your attention, just simply observe them for a moment, and then observe as they float away and get carried off like clouds in the sky or a tumbleweed in the wind. And bring your awareness back to your breath. Breathing a little deeper and a little slower. Present in your body. Feeling as the muscles let go and relax. Simply allowing yourself to be here with your breath. With each breath, relaxing the body, inviting the mind to slow. With the next few breaths, gently scan through the body. Notice if there's any areas that need a little more breath, that need to relax a little more. And as you breathe deeply, let the breath move through these places, relaxing and releasing you a little more. With the next breath, gently drift your awareness up into your sacred heart space in the center of your chest. And begin feeling as the breath flows through this place in your body. Feel as your heart expands with each breath in, and as your body more deeply relaxes with each breath out. Allowing yourself to be where you are, present in your heart, focused with the breath. Allowing your heart and your breath to help you recalibrate into this moment, to drop more deeply into a space of calm, of ease. And with each breath, as your heart expands, feel as the energy of the heart moves through your body and your field, helping to cleanse and clear out anything that isn't serving you. And as you breathe the breath out of your lungs, let go of all this excess energy that's no longer needed. let go of anything that your heart has found that isn't serving you. And continue to allow your body to relax. Breathing deeply, breathing slowly. Allowing the heart to help clear out anything that isn't serving you, any old story or outdated belief, any old habit or way of being. Letting the heart work its magic, move through, clear away, and breathing it out with the breath. And then gently shifting your awareness back into that central space of your heart in the center of your chest. And taking a moment to simply check in with the body and notice what may have shifted. Notice any areas that may still need a little extra love, or places you can return to. And then gently begin bringing your awareness back to the room or physical space that holds you. With gentle movements to the fingers and toes, or letting the body move in any way it's called to move. And then when you're ready, gently blinking your eyes open and coming back to this moment in time. I want to thank you all for being here today, for either being here live or watching the replay. Thank you. Um, there's a comment in the chat about like how do we, when we have those judgmental thoughts or we have those old stories, how do we just let them go, or how do we, stop them from happening? And I think it's actually something that I'll dive more deeply into in a later live stream, because it almost deserves its own, you know, like conversation. The one thing I want to share that's on my heart is right before we close is awareness is key, right? So being able to be aware of when we're thinking certain things about people or what we're thinking is step number one. If we're not aware of something, it doesn't exist for us. It's actually something that my yoga mentor used to say is, if we aren't aware of it, it doesn't exist. And so being aware is fundamental first step. So if you have that awareness, like you should be proud of yourself for having that awareness. That is step number one anyway. And number two is, and this is a much deeper conversation. I've gone into it before, but it's, and there are so many different tools. We can talk about more of them later. But the one that's coming to me right now to share, there's, like I said, there's many different things we can do, and some things are going to work for some people, while other things are going to work for other people, right? Depending on who we are. But the one that's coming to me right now is being aware, right? But number two, part two of that is being able to look at that person as the the child within them, right? The the child that didn't receive the love that they deserved growing up. The child that didn't receive the mentoring or the teaching or the guidance that they needed in order to have greater knowledge of how to treat other people. The child that was hurt and abused, and I mean, looking at, seeing that person as more than the way they're behaving in that moment, but realizing that they are a spirit contained within a body, and that we all came to this earth and we've all been conditioned in our own ways. And sometimes, and everybody, whether we want to accept it or believe it or not, everybody is doing the best that they can from the tools that they have, right? And so when we can start to look at others and realize that they are doing the best that they can from within the tools that they have within them, like, that can help soften that part of ourself. And we are not, I'm not saying go look at it as a hierarchy, like, oh, they just don't know any better. Or no, it's, like, oh man, I can't imagine what they went through. I can't imagine what kind of day they're having. And so all I can do right now is send them love. I don't know what they went through to make them behave that way towards me. I don't, or maybe you do know. Sometimes we know, you know, and that can play an even greater role, because you can say, I know that they went through some stuff. They told me some of their stories, and that must have been really hard. I can't even imagine what it would have been like to go through that. And you know what? So all I can do is send them love. And so that is when it comes to other people. And there's more to that. There's so much more, like, but again, I'm gonna close this. I'm about to close this live stream, so we'll have to discuss this more later at another time. But the the other thing is the thoughts about ourselves that bubble up, that are dark and painful, and we don't want to, that we're like, I don't want to keep thinking those. And part of that is consistent practice of rewiring the mind. And this is about other people as well. Is applicable there. But I mean, going into the science, there are just neurological networks that we have created in our mind about other people and about ourselves, those stories. And we have to sever those connections. And so it's consistent practice. It's consistent, hearing, being aware of that thought and choosing a different one. It's consistent practice in the meditation, right? Like choosing to meditate every day, choosing to do the work every day, choosing to rewire your mind every day, right? And so it is consistency in that, in order to really shift those thoughts. And yeah, and we can we can dive all more into that later in another time. Of course, you're always more than welcome to reach out to me. I do one-on-one sessions with people, so you can look into my website and stuff like that, which is in the description of my channel. But we are right. I really love that. I like in the comments just sharing, because it's really in line with what I was just saying. Like looking at the person and saying, this is a whole person, and who knows what they've been through, right? It's a whole person. Right? We don't know what they've been through. And so we got to let go of the stories, open ourselves up to the magic and the abundance of the universe. And with that, I'm actually going to close so I can get to a appointment with my sister on time. And I love each and every one of you. I appreciate each and every one of you. I think that the more love that we can pulse out into the planet, the greater our effect is going to be. And I hope that you experience a miracle today that positively changes your reality and your view on life in a way so profound that you can never go back to the way things were, because you just know something in a deeper way. You have a greater truth. So may you have a blessed, beautiful, wonderful afternoon, day ahead of you, wherever you are in space and time, and a wonderful few days until I'm back on here and see you next. So, all right, lots of love, blessings, and light. Until next time.